You know that feeling when a song comes on and suddenly you're hit with this vivid memory? It's powerful, right? But what if music could do more than just trigger old memories? What if it could actually help us build new ones, stronger and clearer than ever before? Today, we're diving into how music is way more than just entertainment. It's actually a powerful tool that can change the very way we learn and remember things. So let's really dig into that question. We're going to explore the science behind how a simple tune can unlock our brain's potential, especially for those of us whose brains are wired just a little bit differently. Okay, first things first, let's make sure we're on the same page. When we talk about dyslexia, we're talking about a challenge with processing the sounds in language and connecting them to letters on a page. And let's be super clear, this has nothing to do with intelligence. It's all about how the brain processes information. Now, on the flip side, you've got this condition called hypermnesia. This is where someone has an incredibly detailed and vivid memory of their past. It's pretty rare, but hang on to this idea because it's going to be really important when we get to some of the more cutting-edge stuff later on. So how exactly does music work this magic on our memory? I mean, what is actually happening up there in our brains when we learn something new while listening to a song? The best way to think about it is that music creates a kind of scaffolding for information. I bet most of us learned our ABCs not by just reading the letters, but by singing them. That melody gives the letters a structure, a framework that makes the information, well, stickier. It just makes it so much easier to pull back out of your brain later. And here's why that scaffolding is so strong. Listening to music isn't a passive activity for your brain. It's a full-on workout. It fires up your auditory cortex to process the sounds, your attention networks to follow the melody, your executive functions to understand the pattern, and, this is the big one, your limbic system, which is the emotional center of your brain. And the more parts of your brain you get involved, the stronger that memory is going to be. Okay, so we've established that music is a great memory aid for pretty much everyone. But for someone with dyslexia, it can go from being just a helpful tool to an absolute lifeline. What's amazing is that music directly tackles the biggest challenges of dyslexia. It helps improve what's called phonological awareness, which is just a fancy way of saying the brain's ability to hear and play with the individual sounds in words. It sharpens temporal processing, which is crucial for getting the sequence of things right. And importantly, it just gives the brain another way in, an alternate route for information to get stored. Plus, it makes learning fun, which can seriously cut down on the anxiety that so often gets in the way. This really puts it into perspective. For a person with dyslexia, traditional learning can feel like being stuck on a single-lane road with a ton of traffic. What music does is open up a whole network of brand new superhighways, getting multiple senses, emotions, and parts of the brain all working together at the same time. And get this, the research shows something truly incredible. Music isn't just a temporary fix, it can actually build new strengths. It turns out that musicians with dyslexia often develop such amazing skills in hearing and sequencing musical tones that it actually makes up for weaknesses they might have in verbal memory. It's a perfect example of how amazingly adaptable our brains are. All right, now let's go to the really fascinating, cutting-edge stuff. We've seen how music can help rewire the brain to support learning. So what happens if you throw that other rare memory condition we mentioned, hypermnesia, into the mix? Now, I have to be really clear here. Direct research on this specific combination is pretty much brand new, so we're on a theoretical frontier. But the potential is just wow. The idea that each of these things could amplify the others to create a sort of memory superpower is a hugely exciting area for scientists to explore. So why would this even work? Well, a brain with hypermnesia tends to thrive on information that's rich, emotional, and hits multiple senses at once. And look what music brings to the table. It's a powerful cocktail of cognitive, emotional, and sensory input. Exactly the kind of fuel that could, in theory, supercharge a memory system that's already incredibly powerful. Whew, okay. We have covered a ton of ground, from basic brain science all the way to some pretty wild theories. So, what's the big takeaway here? How can we actually use this information? It really boils down to three key techniques that pretty much anyone can use. First, the rhythmic approach. Use a beat to memorize a sequence, like a phone number. Second, the melodic one. Literally set the information to a tune, like singing a shopping list. But third, and this is the most powerful, is the cross-modal technique. That's when you combine sound with seeing something and doing something. That's where the real magic happens. This table just pulls it all together so perfectly. Let's just pause here for a second. Look at that third row, emotional engagement. We know that for dyslexia, music lowers anxiety, which is a huge benefit. But now look over at the potential synergy with hypermnesia. That same mechanism could lead to incredibly deep, vivid recall. It's a perfect illustration of how one single tool can have these massive compounding benefits for different kinds of brains. So if there's one thing to take away from all of this, it's this. Music is this amazing, personalized, multi-sensory key that can unlock the hidden potential in all of our minds. And that really leaves us with a mind-blowing question, doesn't it? I mean, we already make playlists for working out or for focusing at work. So what if the next big step is personalized soundtracks for learning? Just imagine a future where every student gets a piece of music composed just for them, designed to help them think, remember, and be their absolute best. Now that is a powerful thought.